With Crimsonclad.
With me, especially if I can figure out how to actually change all my stuff. Hey, welcome. My name is Crimsonclad, and you are here for another Fullforce Radio. I'm stoked to have you guys rush home not wearing a metal shirt tonight. That means we have no plans. We are going off the rails, and I've got lots of great music for you tonight. A lot of new tracks, and it's so good to see familiar faces and people that I haven't seen in a while around here. Hey, Zeus. Hi, everybody else. Hi, Viking Adventure, and a sleepy Sophia. So, hey, welcome. It's been a couple of weeks since we have been roughly on time. Roughly on time, roughly prepared, roughly back. But we are. And so things are going a little different tonight. And I thought I'd let you guys know before the show got too deep and before we got too far into things. Let me put on the glasses so I can see you a little better. We're changing things up a little bit. One of the biggest problems of doing a live radio show that has an accompanying live video production is that I am constantly balancing what all of the platforms want and need from me and for all of you, where it is that you tune in, that you love best. And so, of course, we've got all of the blockchain-powered solutions like Vim and 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆. We have the up-and-comers like trve. And of course, we have Twitch and YouTube as sort of the standardized places where you can hang out and watch or listen to the show. Now, the problem is, one thing that we talk about a lot in Web3 and that we talk about a lot on this show and one of my other shows is we talk about problems with music licensing. Now, obviously, anybody can stream anywhere, anytime, and when you have your own radio station, you can play whatever you want. And the cool thing about MSP Waves is we actually do have a license to play music for you. However, it doesn't cover off when you want to watch the show over again. And this creates issues with the YouTube. So, to solve those problems and to make the radio/video/whatever the heck this is for you experience a little bit better, I'm changing things up. Those of you who normally watch over on YouTube, you will notice the YouTube is not going tonight. We're going to do things a little bit different. So, if you want to watch or listen live, pick any of the regular places except YouTube. Tomorrow, the stream will go up and you can rewatch it at your leisure. The music will be cut out. And so from then on out, every one of the episodes that goes up on YouTube won't have music in it. And that way, YouTube won't keep taking them down and destroying all the hard work we do. So, gonna work smarter, not harder. It's not a thing I'm very good at, but we're gonna make the attempt. An attempt will be made. Right? Right. All right. So, with that, I do have a lot of great new tracks for you tonight, and then we're just gonna play some fun stuff. Now, I will say, if you were here, hi! If you were here last week, we actually tested the Twitch, like the Twitch only stream last week, and it worked pretty good. There were a lot of you that hung out over there, and it seemed like most people didn't miss the YouTube. Hopefully. Here's the deal. I promised last week that I would work on a playlist for the eternal boner of winter, which sounds ridiculous, and if you weren't here, then that's going to be a very confusing thing for you. What happened last week is we discussed one of my favorite Twitter accounts out there, which is an account that's not real. It is, in fact, a number of algorithms all running together. And one of those algorithms is a bot that comes up with metal band names that don't exist. And then it takes those names and it feeds them into one of the new AI generating, art generative adversarial networks. You can use that again as a cool term for a cool guy if you want to go out there and impress people with your knowledge. But the long and the short of it is the metal band bot came up with, the Ravages of Winter or some dumb thing as the band name. And then it came up. The Eternal Boner Winter is the title of your autobiography. Yes, the Calgarians have entered the chat. Oh, lordy. But yeah, if you were here last week, you will remember AI Metal Bot. Now, I'll actually grab the real terminology for you. But we were joking because here was this AI bot that came up with a perfect name for a metal band and then generated the album that band wrote. And the album happened to be something like the Emergent Boner of Winter or some nonsense like that. And this poor AI actually managed to come up with a very passable image of a large icy boner rising up out of a sunlit forest, a plasma spewing out of it. I'm not going to say that the whole point of like Skynet coming to pass is very close, but it is. Man, the AI is getting good, and it was terrifying. We had a good laugh about it. And we joked that last week I would take that album cover and I would run with it, and I would put together an entire playlist. What would that album sound like if it was a real album? And I would pull out a bunch of different songs from real bands, and I would put together the actual album to go with that. And so I was working on that over the course of this week, but I haven't quite finished. So I suspect by next week, if you tune in, the icy touch, the icy touch of a phantom winter boner may be in your future. So if that excites you, come on back to Full Force Radio. Is that similar to a ghostwriting AI? Yeah. So this is, without getting too far into cyberbuzz topics, because of course this is Full Force Radio. Generative adversarial networks are networks that process a bunch of data that will essentially test against themselves, and they will constantly learn from themselves. And so you're probably thinking of Talk to Transformer as a really common one. And even, these sort of attempts that have happened in the past, Microsoft and other places have created chatbots, and the internet immediately breaks them. Immediately feeds them terrible things, talks to them in terrible ways, teaches them the worst words, the worst tropes, the worst memes, and pretty much immediately any form of AI that learns from the internet learns to be a horrible asshole. It's a terrible thing. We've not yet managed to do it in a way that has produced a person of quality. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen to you if you spend a lot of time on the internet, but I'm also not saying that you should think about that. You should sit down and think about your life. But yes, similar to the ghostwriting AI, you'll see a lot out there where you will feed this, you'll feed this network or this program or this cloud, computing thing. You'll feed it a sentence, and it will go through and it will decide how to expand that sentence into a story. Now, if you haven't tried Transformer and some of the other versions out there that are publicly available, they're pretty funny, and it's very similar. But one of the things you might notice out and about, hi Artsy, that you might notice out and about around the web right now, and that everybody is obsessed with, is this DALL-E, DALL-E. And this is essentially an incredibly powerful version of a generative adversarial network that is powering essentially pieces of art created from text prompts. Now, when you think about this, it's pretty wild. This is a pretty crazy thing, that the fact that it works at all is insane. And so, it's funny that you guys bring this up, and we start out the show talking about this because, of course, we start out talking the show about eternal winter boners. I mean, why wouldn't we? That's Full Force Radio in a nutshell, isn't it? But with that being said, if you have been anywhere on the internet this week, you will probably have seen some examples from one of these networks. And in fact, the meme dump in the main Discord is full of them. The Spicy Chat, I think, has them as well. There's a bunch of places where people are finding these hilarious frickin' things and sharing them. But I saw one that made me laugh pretty hard, and that I'm gonna pull up after the first song, and I'm gonna show you guys, because what is happening and what is possible with this stuff is wild. It's at the eternal winter of the dong. Oh, so here you go. Patient Zero has actually grabbed one. He literally put in, as Crimsonclad spoke of the emergent boner of winter. That's what he started with. And so this is apparently what Transformer came up with, I'm guessing. Should I read it? This is a whole thing. We'll read this and be terrified by the AI. As Crimsonclad spoke of the emergent boner of winter and the splintered planet, 𝖍𝖕𝖏 and her band nodded in agreement and smoked to bring the throbbing in their balls to a dull roar. Crimsonclad is, in her own way, a demon, willing to stoop to any low to achieve her end. Rude. Even lying to the darkling queen is small potatoes. Suddenly, there was the sound of a heavy vehicle skidding over loose rock and squealing to a halt. The darkness within her prompted 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖆 to smile. An enemy, she said. So here's the deal. That was literally written by an adversarial network in, 0.2 of a second. Now, first of all, yeah, potatoes. Potatoes came up. The AI called me a demon. I think a lot of this is very rude. It's making a lot of, assumptions about me. And terrifyingly, some of them are on the nose. Hi, Groff. So there you go. It's wild what's out there. And, it's interesting because 𝖊𝖆 is kind of on my wavelength here in that we are entering a time where these networks are really going to shape the music we listen to, the art we look at, the content that we produce. We're going to constantly be wondering how much of this came from a human mind, how much of this came from the chipset of a computer influenced by a human mind, and how much of this is literally just internet gobbledygook, and we may never know. So yes, this AI should write 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖘's next album. Arguably, it probably would do an amazing job. Like, actually. I'm pretty sure if you wrote I ejaculate fire into, Talk to Transformer, you'd probably get basically the exact you would probably get the exact song. Who owns the music? Now that's a good question, isn't it? It's weird. It's a really interesting topic that probably on Saturday for Cyberbuzz, which is my other show, synthwave and blockchain and emergent tech, we'll probably have to delve a little deeper into this because I have a really cool thing to show you. But it's not a metal topic. Tonight is a metal show. Remember? We do metal on Fullforce Radio, I swear. But these are real questions. And if you go out there, you will find these AI networks that are producing album covers, that are writing stories, that are carrying on discussions, that are creating music. Yeah, this is a real thing. And in fact, there is one network out there that makes metal. It just makes metal. That's all it does. All the time, it's constantly producing metal. Artsy says she's still confused. Well, that's okay. That's pretty much the state of everybody here at Fullforce Radio. We're telling a story. We're talking about the possibilities of new technology and how it's going to shape our lives right now as metalheads. All right. So as we're doing that, oh gosh, here we go. Patient Zero has done it. It's not quite, but this could... This is a lot. I'm going to leave that one because that looks like the AI has written some erotica, and that usually happens at the end of the night. So when I started the night tonight, if you were at the beginning of the show and you were watching the countdown to the show, I was playing some music by a band called 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆, and the intro to the show was a track called Acid Face. It's a brand new release, and 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 they do sort of a cool bluesy southern rock, progressive, experimental, I don't know, hard rock nonsense. And they've created like 6 records now, and all of them are very fun and very interesting and very experimental. But if you were listening right before the start of the show, it's very like 70s psychedelic stoner rock and roll. It's good stuff. And so I'm thinking at some point tonight, I will share at least one more 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖆 track as part of the playlist. But I did promise you guys some new music. I do have a lot of great stuff. And then we're going to fill in all the blanks with songs I love, bands I'm interested in, and no set menu for the evening. Because, of course, we've literally just spent 15 minutes talking about AIs and boners. I mean, that's par for the course. This is starting to become a weekly thing. So while we're doing that, I'm going to set up the Vim stream to make sure people know this is going on. The rest of the streams are live. My name is Crimsonclad. Fullforce Radio begins here. I thought maybe, let's just see. Where should we start with this is the real question. I thought maybe we could go back and we could do a sort of 1970s styled groovy track. It's been a while since I've played some Opeth on the show. Now, I will admit, I'm kind of a niche Opeth listener. And in fact, arguably, the album Sorceress is my favorite, and everything outside there, well, good, just isn't the same. That's my album, that's my jam. And so, coming out of starting the show with some psychedelic 70s kind of rock and roll, let's get some of that, and let's grab an older track and do some grooving. So, I'm going to play you Sorceress by Opeth. My name is Crimsonclad, and then we'll chat a little bit more about some other topics, and I will show you what arguably might be my favorite AI-generated image of all time, and we will play around a little bit more with some of the some of the possibilities, I'm sure. Let's do it. It's Sorceress. My name is Crimsonclad. It was a really good album, right? See? Other people agree. It's so quiet here tonight. No, artsy. People just listen to the show, and chatter doesn't get going usually until everybody's either, two sheets to the wind, or I play a banger that, totally is a dichotomy, and half the audience hates it and half the audience loves it, and then they end up yelling at each other. That's how we get chat rocking. It's early. It's early. We got 3 hours tonight. Let's do it. You do have a couple of different places you can watch. You can watch on the waves, or listen on the waves, pardon me, and that is, of course, mspwaves.com. That is the radio station, even though it's not radio, the social broadcasting network that will soon be radio again. Long and the short of it, you can listen to high-res audio there if you want. If you are the type that wants to listen to video, yeah, listen to video. Watch it with your eyes. Hear it with your ears. I have stopped streaming to YouTube. I'm changing things up a little bit. Now, I know a lot of people liked watching and listening on YouTube, and you still can. However, YouTube is going to be where replays go after the fact. And part of that is because YouTube comes down really hard on music, and it constantly takes down the videos. It deletes live chat. And honestly, it's really frustrating. And it's getting to the point where, every time a video is taken down, I don't care if there's no money. I don't have a problem. I know, it's fine. We're going to do replays, I promise. But what was happening is I would live stream to YouTube, and YouTube would be like, fuck you. You're a jerk. You're infringing on copyright. I'm taking the music down. And so what you would do is you would end up kind of going along, and it would find a song that I didn't like, and I'd say, okay, no problem. No, Twitch I'm still doing. I'll kind of go over the places that you could watch and listen in a second. But the long and the short of it is YouTube said, nope, that song's bad. So I'd go, okay, and I would cut it out of the video. And then YouTube would be like, ooh, don't like any of these other songs. Well, here's the thing. You're only allowed to edit a YouTube video once. And once they have a problem with it, they pull everything down. They will take away the live chat. They'll scrub the views off it from live. And the long and the short of it is it basically sort of erases the whole experience that we have while doing the live show. I would much rather upload a high quality version of the show for you after the fact, and then have that available on YouTube without the music, and you can choose to get the music yourself if you want, then have, the episodes and all of the accompaniments get pulled down. So, fuck YouTube, right, Kingston? Right, everybody else? So, in the meantime, you have options, and those options are myriad. You can go to mspwaves.com and you can just listen to the radio with your ears, but if you want the full experience, the whole hot mess, as it were, which is me right now, then that's no problem. You can listen on Twitch. You can check it out over on 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆, where a bunch of people are hanging out right now. You can go to Vim TV, which is, of course, the Hive blockchain-powered alternative. You can go to trve, which is a mobile streaming site. You can do the Twitch thing if you're a classic Twitch lover. So you've got lots of options, or you can hang out with all these cool people down below in the Discord if you want to see and be seen on the overlay, like so. Have at it. All right. So Vim does have keychain now. So let's do the thing. Let's make it happen. I will publish a post, and we will move forward. And that's how things are going to go. We're testing this out, but I think it'll be a better experience for all of you. I'll be able to play more music. I won't worry about losing so much of the history. The videos that do go up on YouTube won't keep getting pulled down. And in theory, it means that every Friday there'll be new content for you guys to hang out and watch and listen to. Maybe. Right? Right. Whatever. All right. So one thing that I mentioned there right before the break, because we were talking about AI networks, we were talking about generative networks coming up with ridiculous things, and that 𝖊𝖕𝖆, that one that right now it's not publicly available, but some people are working with it, and it is incredibly powerful. It learns from pretty much whatever prompt you give it, and it gets a little better and a little better and a little better and a little better. And it's actually kind of terrifying. But if you haven't seen any of these around today, there is one that I want to share with you, because I've been watching a couple of different accounts, Twitter out there. And this is an amalgam of all of the Reddit users who are creating weird generative art. And submitting it to the Reddit and then getting put up on this account. So the account is Twitter Weird 𝖊𝖕𝖆. So let me share that with you in the chat across all the things. But the reason that I bring this up is because I saw one today that was just fucking perfect. And the prompt was Paddington Bear in the mosh pit of a metal concert. And I'm not gonna lie, this AI absolutely fucking nailed it. What a weird prompt to begin with. But look at this utter masterpiece. Paddington Bear in the mosh pit of a metal concert. And literally, a computer somewhere came up with this. And I am very happy with it. Let me get it up on the screen here. Look at it. Oh, you can't see it. It's bad. I'm bad. Everything's bad. Look at this. Look at this glorious image. Paddington Bear in the mosh pit of a metal concert. Nothing of this actually exists. Kingston says his avatar was created by an AI. Very cool. It's very tiny, but I can see it. This is going to change the world. One of my favorite things about 𝖊𝖕 is that it just doesn't quite handle anatomy correctly. It's close, but it's not quite right. And you see hands, but they're not quite hands. They're a little creepy. You see body parts and like eyeballs in weird places. It's kind of like I imagine something from a horror movie would be like, because you'll see like, oh, it looks like a beautiful woman, but then also her mouth kind of just continues down her neck, and her leg sort of turns into a vagina, but it's not sexy. It sort of has teeth. What's going on? And it's a fascinating thing. Yeah, no, I know this is not the good one. This is the 𝖊𝖕 Mini. But the reality is these will continue to improve, and they will get more and more and more terrifying. Now, in the interest of being able to talk a little bit more and to play more music tonight, I'm not going to go through, spot by spot these 𝖊𝖕 images. But if you're interested in this topic, and specifically you're interested in this topic from the sort of idea of, ooh, this is a little creepy, this is a little scary, AI makes me uncomfortable, how can I protect myself from AI and some of the possibilities around it, then you need to come to Cyberbuzz on Saturday, because A, it will be my first Cyberbuzz back in a long time, and I have to give you guys some synthwave. B, I'm going to be talking specifically about AI, big data, and some of the ways that you can, at the very least, kind of throw a wrench in the machine. It won't be perfect forever, but I have some cool tools for you. And I'm going to talk about it on Saturday. So there you go. If you want to have some fun, go fart around on the internet and find AI-generated images. I also think that, is it a mouth or is it a vagina? If you can't tell, you probably shouldn't put your dick in it. But at the same time, you know what? Risky glory hole of the day. Oh, Lord Almighty. Okay, so with that, since things will probably get weirder as time goes on, I was going to scroll up and I was going to grab something. And do you think I can remember what it was I was going to do? It doesn't matter. But I did think what might be fun is taking some of the lines out of songs tonight and feeding them through AI and seeing if we could come up with better versions of metal tracks that we listen to tonight. Why? Because why not? If we're going to go and we're going to is either option safe? These are questions that nobody knows. But at the end of the day, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And what's the other one? Any port in a storm. I don't know. Just listen, when you inevitably get arrested for putting your appendage into something that you weren't supposed to, don't tell them I told you to do it. All I did was just told you to listen to your heart. That's it. Chase your dreams, kids. Be safe. Consent is sexy. We learned that last week. All right, this is actually a metal show. I swear this is a metal show. So why don't any poon in a storm? That's right. Listen, it's a swirling tornado of we're not sure what's in here, honestly. Let's play a new track. Yikes. Let's play a new track for you guys. I want to play something by a band called @Fiction. Now, I have played this band for you on the show before. You guys have enjoyed them. I've played stuff off an album called Aftermath, going back to my very first, my first or second show, Fullforce Radio, 5 years ago, 2017. I've played stuff off the album called Void. And here now, they have released a new single that I want to share with you guys. So, if you're cool with that, we're going to play brand new @Fiction. And I'm also going to, I'm going to kind of take some more ideas from you guys. Hopefully you have some, because 5 years of Full Force, I'm thinking at least one special t-shirt. Yeah, Artsy would have been here for the first show. I'm thinking one special t-shirt design that has nothing to do with the show, just is a cool art t-shirt, and probably some special events. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do to celebrate the fact that we have had 5 full years of Force. We are officially at episode 186 of full official episodes. It's wild the amount of time and effort and love and music that has gone into this show. And in the coming weeks, one of the things that I'm going to be doing is playing through and streaming a bunch of 𝖊𝖕𝖆 𝕍𝖈, because the demo is out. The game will be out soon. We've talked about it before. We've listened to some of the tracks and the artists that are coming from that game. So lots of cool stuff coming down the pipe in the couple of weeks. ? Yeah, you do need your titties shirt. My God. Well, so here's the thing. The store is built. It's just not been pushed live. And it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And it's funny because I'm always lecturing and helping other people do their stuff, and I still just haven't done it for myself. God damn it. All right. This is exciting. I agree. It's exciting. Let us play this new track. The new track is called Not Gonna Make It, and it is a gooder. 𝐻�fiction does, listen, kind of melodic death metal, but they're a little different too. I don't know. We'll see what you guys think. I feel like they have a little bit of an industrial edge. There's a lot going on. Let us let us listen to some fun music, and we'll brainstorm what we could do for 5 whole years of Force, and maybe how to get this stupid store online, and so everybody can get all their cool stuff that they want. Right? It can happen. Hey, Clay. Hey, everybody else. Let's do it. I promise you guys metal tonight. We are going to do metal tonight, and you're going to like it. This track called Not Gonna Make It. And I will say, the thing that I always think of when I hear this term, Not Gonna Make It, my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. You guys know it's RoboCop. But one of my favorite movies is The Fifth Element. Do you remember the scene near the end where they're trying to open the stones? And everybody's got a different element, and the little priest guy just puts his hands, and he's like, and he's the first one to open a stone, and everybody's losing their minds, so they're like, do it again, what did you do? And he's like, I put my hands on either side of it, and I said, we're not gonna make it. And that's what I think of. this song is at least as good as Fifth Element, right? Let's do it on Full Force Radio. Yes, there you go. So metal Chad vibes, metalcore vibes, solid mid-2000s. Yeah, all the feedback there was legit. Hey kids, my name is Crimsonclad and this is Full Force Radio. Now, normally I'm looking a little more metal. You will notice as of today, I'm just rocking my plain old black shirt. I didn't get home in time to change my shirt. But exciting things. Over the course of the last couple weeks, I have had an amazing local carpenter putting together new railings outside this room. My office right behind here, if you're watching the video. If you're not, if you're just listening, let me paint you a mental picture, friends. But so behind my office here is the staircase to my upstairs. And it was delightfully awful in every freaking way. The chat room's turning into a dating pool. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, Clay and Eileen are going to run off into the, I guess, Argentinian woods together. And hopefully, like, at the very least, you can FFR out into the distance. Oh, Lacey's got a new profile picture. It's cute. So with that being said, there was this staircase. When I moved into my house, you have to imagine that the family that lived here before me had many childrens. And those many childrens were grubby-handed little fucks. And the railing was wiggly and covered in schmutz and like smashed up. It was bad. I would come around the corner and you'd be like, oh, that's interesting. The railing from your second floor shouldn't move at least 5 inches at a time when you walk by it. That's not good. So earlier this evening, the carpenter was here. He could still be here. Question mark. And as such, it was a bit of a race to get ready for the show tonight. Next week, the eternal boner of winter will live on. Don't you worry. The eternal boner playlist will be live next week for sure. And in the break there, we were talking about, hey, you've got all these designs already made. How come you don't have the store up? How come you've got the store already created and it's not already up? How come we're going into 5 years and I still can't buy a fucking t-shirt or get a mug? Yeah, I know. How come we're an hour into the show and I still haven't posted the Vim stream? Questions. So many questions. Do I have answers for you? No. But that's okay. So yes, all of this week, I'm doing things a little bit differently. I am trying to find a way that will make this show the most enjoyable for you, that will help us continue to grow this community, that will get things pumping over on Twitch and the other streaming platforms, but at the same time will hopefully make it easier for me, because YouTube has been the bane of my existence, but I understand 1,000%. It's a really important part of the Full Force Radio video Crim and you thing. What do you want to call this thing? So we'll make it happen. While you guys are at that, we have managed to dissuade you all from talking about more winter boners and more weird generative AI content. I thought I would jump back and forth tonight between lovely new things and terrible old things. And I am sure there is a good chance that I will be able to send out some shirts, because some of you have already won shirts in competitions. And I'm very sure that some things will make it out there. Don't worry. We will make sure that everybody is properly rocking and representing swag. I'm sure of it. Oh, lordy. Okay, so with that being said, since I played you guys some new fiction, I thought, okay, well, I want to jump back, and I haven't played something from a classic band like Entombed for you guys for ages. There are some sick tours that are starting up. The festival season is coming. All of these bands that in the 90s were really pushing black and death metal, and all of these bands that kind of shaped what's happening today, we gotta put a little bit of love their way, right? So I haven't played 𝖱𝖐𝖆 for you guys for ages. And for those of you who aren't metalheads and who just come to this show and are like, whatever, 𝖱𝖐𝖆 is one of those Scandinavian bands that was right there at the beginning of it all. And often if you come to this show, you've heard me talk a little bit about the 90s and how Scandinavian, Norway, Norwegian, the European side of things, how in the 90s, black metal and death metal were emerging. These dark, scary, terrifying flowers were just blooming. And, there were a lot of struggles with imagery, with Satanism, with all of the stuff that people sort of associate metal with now, right? The 90s were a crazy time with bands trying to push the envelope to look as terrifying and be as edgy as they possibly could. And of course, culminated in a lot of the stuff that happened in the Lords of Chaos sort of era, which is, of course, the church burnings and a lot of the violence and problems that kind of spread across. Lacey says she loves the sparkle when I start talking about metal. What can I say? I have so much useless, esoteric metal knowledge. And this time, once a week, I get to share it with you guys. Is it helpful? Can it do anything? Am I good at anything else? Absolutely not. But, God damn it, I love to talk about bands like this. So originally I thought, okay, I'm going to play something off their first album, 1990, Left Hand Path. It was a really important album, and it was really influential. So, like the frosty glimmer of a full moon, is that the moon that rises over the icy boner of winter, casting a pale moonbeam down upon the shaft of the... We should ask the AI network what comes next. But so originally I was going to play something off Left Hand Path, and I thought, okay, no, I'm going to go a little bit further into the 90s, and I'm going to go a little bit later into the discography, and I'm going to pull something that's fun. And I originally thought I might play something from the 2000s, like Say It With Slugs, an amazing track. But no, we're going to do a track off an album called To Ride, Shoot Straight, and Tell the Truth. And I'm going to play you a track called Damn Deal Done. Now, the reason that I am specifically going to play this track is, like I said, I played that very first intro track of the night, All Them Witches, and it had sort of a 70s groove vibe to it. And then, I've got some more stuff on the playlist that has that same kind of vibe, played the Opeth. So, going to do this. Now, 𝖱𝖐𝖆, yeah, death metal band at the forefront of everything that was happening on the icy tundras, and Scandinavian metal in the 90s. But some of their tracks, and especially this particular album, have a bit of a sort of gothic-esque, Gothic Americana sort of vibe to it. Now, Clay and Ron may not agree, but to me, there's absolutely some hints of what almost is Southern rock in some of these tracks. So it fits with tonight's playlist. It's great old 𝖱𝖐𝖆. It's a lot of fun, and it's perfect to play at almost the hour mark of Fullforce Radio. Damn Deal Done. Sealed with a kiss and the boner of winter. Yes! All right. So, hey, welcome to Fullforce Radio. I see people are all over the place. It is a bumpin' night. Look at all these cuties floating around in the Discord this evening. I see people on Twitch and Theta and Trovo. It's a cool one. I'm glad to have you. Why are you playing 𝖱𝖐𝖆? Why am I not playing 𝖱𝖐𝖆? God damn it, pig. So I was mentioning earlier, right before I played that song, weirdly enough, I explained why I was playing 𝖱𝖐𝖆. That particular track is off one of my albums from them that was obviously a bit of a change in their sound, right? So I was mentioning that Left Hand Path was an incredibly influential album. And Mariana was actually talking about Left Hand Path in chat and how that is specifically a reference to obviously some... it is occultish for sure, but the left-hand path belief system is self-determination. Easy for you to say. Self-determination and things like that. Atheism and a lot of sort of the things that guide, of course, Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible, right? And so we've talked about on this show a lot that obviously that is problematic in a lot of ways, whether it is over the top Satanism, whether it is over the top Christianity, whether it is over the top, any form of religion can be used as a cudgel or it could be used as a caress, much like what we do with everything as humans, right? We can turn things to good and we can turn things to evil. Belief systems exist about everything. Yeah, you know what? It is atheism, Mariano, in some ways. And this is obviously going to make some people upset because Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible and sort of the tenets of that form of Satanism was to reject the idea of a God and to believe in self as self-deterministic. However, of course, the reality is a lot of the occult stuff that went along with it. Yeah, Mariano's saying literally devil worship. Agreed. Listen, I'm not a Satanist myself. I'm not a Christian myself. I am nebulously spiritual. But a lot of those sort of underpinnings of where this controversial version of Satanism came from absolutely has underpinnings of atheism. It absolutely does. And we don't have to agree. 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 is different. He's yelling it in caps now. It's not. A lot of these things come from the same place. Even this literal devil worship still comes from a place of having a foil against Christianity. And it's not even so much that there is a belief that there is the devil as a person. There is an underworld full of spirits and demons and terrible things, and there is that occult tie. But at the end of the day, it still exists largely as a foil against Christianity and a disbelief in the God creator of Christianity. Crim got the setup looking fire. Hey, yeah. So listen, we often get kind of pulled into this debate about Satanism versus Christianity. And I love having you guys here, and I love talking about it. And Mariano, never be sorry. I love your opinions. But the reality is this show, we often end up talking about this. And it's crazy because there's so much more to metal than this. But a lot of this formative metal, this stuff that came out of the 90s, whether we liked it or not, and a lot of the precursors to this metal, when we think about Venom or we think about Bathory or we think about, these bands that existed at that time, they really did lean heavily on a lot of this sort of shocking stuff and the stuff that was really scary out in the world. The satanic panic was taking over the world, and it's happened many times now, actually, in the 60s and even right now. So the reality is it is a valid fear that we have within us, and a lot of things to do with metal comes with how can we pull something ugly and wrenching and horrible and put that into a sound that makes you feel something, whether that is fear, whether that is aggression, whether that is catharsis. There is a whole subsection of metal that came from an ugly, ugly place. So, doesn't matter. The long and the short of it is that album, Left Hand Path, that original Entombed album, it's really good. It's also got some imagery, and the title track, Left Hand Path, is very much about essentially a satanic ritual. So, that being said, that's not what we played. That's where things started, how things started, how things are going. If we were trying to, get a meme out of that, it would be entombed in corpse paint out on the tundra, being all scary with some, burning crosses. And then the album that I just played for you, To Ride, To Shoot Straight, and To Speak Truth, would be more like entombed in corpse paint, but with like slouchy cowboy hats, maybe? By the later albums, they were exploring different types of sounds. And that track that I just played for you, Damn Deal Done, yeah, a little bit of a sort of southern vibe to it. So something a bit different and a good fit with the rest of tonight. So, yeah. If I don't play some Moonspell, I'm going to hunt you and tickle you. It's actually been a little bit since I played some Moonspell. I'll actually look and see the last time that I did, because we might, you never know. All right, so earlier we were talking a little bit about AI, and we were talking about how are we going to celebrate 5 whole years of Force. Everybody's laughing. Trey's over there laughing at me. Good Lord. We need to take music less serious, like 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖆. You know, I learned last night, don't ask me why I learned this, but I learned last night that little guy, the 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖆 guy, his name is Hatchet Man. Okay? I learned this last night. His name is Hatchet Man. But he has a cleaver. Now, I'm not saying that this is indicative of the intelligence of people who enjoy Insane Clown Posse, but bro, why isn't he Cleaver Man? To fucking meet Cleaver. Get your taxonomy of bladed items correct. But yeah, I'm with Trey. Music should be fun. And a lot of the time we talk about music on this show and we dig really deep into, you know, the religious aspects of it, or, oh, you know, these guys, it's a pushback, you know, against Christianity entering Orthodox countries and, you know, taking over the heathen culture, or, oh, we talk about, you know, why these bands are obsessed with natural imagery, or we talk about double kick drums that are triggered and the crazy sort of songwriting aspects that go into progressive or gent or technical death metal, or who cares? Did you like the song? Are you having a good time? Did the eternal boner of winter spring forth and inspire you? These are the questions that we ask on Fullforce Radio, right? Right. But yes, I should be mailing around drugs. And definitely, I was mentioning in there because, of course, everybody that's watching or listening, you know, in one way or another has some plans. Clay's got some big travel plans. Lacey's up here. People are having psychedelic drug gifts. And I will say, live on air, my particular sort of intoxicant of choice is 𝕍𝖊𝖆𝖆, which is I guess it's a THC derivative, but whatever the sort of description of it would be, it's a byproduct of other hemp products, I guess. And the reality is, for me, 𝕍𝖊𝖆, I don't green out when I take it. I don't feel nauseous, and there is no anxiety. So for me, when I take a full gummy, it is delightful. I am definitely high, but nowhere near like I would be smoking. I prefer not to take things into my lungs. You only get one set. It's kind of like your ears. It's kind of like your eyes. We've talked about that on this show. We've had a couple of big questions. And so if you've never answered them, you feel free to answer in the chat. 1, would you rather lose your eyesight or your hearing? Now, most of us on this show, and most of the answers we've gotten before, for me too, I would much rather go blind than lose my hearing. That's my personal take. But the other one, of course, is, if you had to love on a mermaid, would you love on a top mermaid or a bottom mermaid? These are the important questions. But for me, when I think about these things, smoking of any sort is bad, man. You only get your lungs. They're delicate. We are but motes of stardust crammed in a meat sack, flung out into the universe, spinning around on a rock, right? What can I say? It's not for me. So 𝕍𝖊𝖆 is a great thing. It's an edible, and that for me is my happy place. So hell, I'll try and send some to you guys in the mail. Why not? My dealer, it's legal here completely. I can get it in the mail. I'll just send it to you guys, and we'll see what happens. Oh, you should buy a pack of D's. I do enjoy a good pack of nuts now and again. Cashews, man, delicious. All right, so we're bouncing back and forth. We're playing new tracks, we're playing old tracks, we're playing stuff all over the place. And one of the things that I put out there is, I want to know what you guys want to see as a celebration of 5 years of Full Force. I have been doing this show. I have been playing music for you. I have been sharing heavy metal tracks. The Full Force Radio Master List is like 2,300 songs long. It's almost 200 solid hours. Like, stop and think about that. It is, if you listened to the Full Force full radio playlist, every song that I've ever played on this show, you would be listening for like 10 days straight. Holy fucking shit. It's amazing. So I want to know, how do you guys want to celebrate? it's important to me. And of course, I would also like to pick some lines out of songs, and we will ask the AI to write a new version of these songs for us. And let's see what comes out. Will it be better? Will it be worse? I don't know. Bye, Artsy. Okay, so with that, let's see what else I've got on the playlist tonight. I played the Entombed. I played all the other stuff. We're having a good time playing new music, playing old music, playing all sorts of things. I will play some new stuff. And one of the bands that I have played for you over the course of these last few years, 10 whole days. All right, 10 whole days. Over the course of the last few years, I've been playing a band for you on and off called 𝖍𝖕𝖎𝖏. And 𝖍𝖕𝖎𝖏 have been around for a while. They are part of that first wave of Gothenburg metal, right? The Gothenburg sound. And for those of you guys who aren't, huge metalheads, if you've been around the show before, we talked a little bit about that. Gothenburg, Sweden is a special place. And, I'll play Where Death is Most Alive after this. But it's one of those places that was just special. For whatever reason, metal just concentrated there. I'd like to think there are a couple places on the planet that if you looked at them from space, what you would see would be this magical glittering black pinpoint in all of these places where heavy metal just flows forth. Why? I don't know. I'm a fucking hopeless romantic. But Gothenburg would be one of those places. So many bands came out of Sweden making incredible sounds 20, 25 years and have shaped everything that we know, us youngsters or oldsters or in-betweensters, or if you're like me, you're Cthulhu and you're ageless and you slumber in the depths. You look real good, but on the inside, you're basically a puff of dust. Whatever you might be. This is the stuff that has been shaping the music that we listen to. Well, 𝖍𝖕𝖎𝖏 just put out a new album. And it's actually, I'm impressed by it. It's pretty good. It's fun. I wouldn't say it's their best, but there are a couple tracks on it that I really enjoyed. So I thought I would share some of those with you. So the new album is called Heartless Portrait. And I am indeed going to play you essentially what is the title track. I'm going to play you a track called Heartless. Now, it's the opposite. You all have gigantic hearts. Wonderful, lovely, beautiful hearts that beat. Are you in a mausoleum? That's so freaking cool. So you guys are all wonderful, and I like putting metal in your ears. So if that's you, let's do it. You're not heartless, but this track is great. I want to know your guys' opinion. When we come back, we will play some more oldies, some more newbies. We'll have a little bit of fun, and we will try maybe some songwriting challenges where we will put the AI to work. That's what we're going to do. All right. So here you go. Brand new track from 𝖍𝖕𝖎𝖏. You're half-hearted? Oh, but I like it. If you say half-hearted, oh. Can I tell you guys a story before I play the track? I'm sorry, it happened. Here we go. So, you guys may have known, I talked about it a little bit. One of the reasons that things have been tricky lately and that streams have been kind of off is because my grandfather passed away, right? And, that's been pretty hard. I've been doing my grieving. Last weekend, we laid him to rest, which is why I wasn't available for Cyberbuzz on Saturday. And the wake is this weekend. So, obviously, my family, once you do the sad bit, then you do the out of your gourd memory bit. So I'd like to think that he would really love me to tell you this story. And maybe it's not very funny, but you mentioned it. It came to my brain. Now you're getting story instead of music. So I've done my grieving already. The worst of my public sadness is gone. It's been a couple weeks. But my grandpa was a really interesting man. He engaged in a lot of sort of rich white people stuff, which sounds terrible. I'm not saying he owned slaves, but that was his jam. He was an incredibly, incredibly successful business person here in BC. Like, a big deal. And he actually, I guarantee you, probably some people around Clay's hood would have known him as well, because he did a lot of traveling for business. And so part of what happened as time went on and he built up his resources is my grandfather owned racehorses. You're grieving your mom. Yeah, I'm so sorry. It's so hard, and these things never get easy. They get easier, but they never get easy. And, the really hard part about this is the longer and the more time you have with someone, there's this horrible feeling where you're like, they're never going to die. They're invincible. And so then when that moment inevitably does come, because death comes for us all, the one real sort of equalizer, you're less prepared than you probably should have been, right? But no, that's not it. Don't worry. Crim is not related to the Loughchilds. Don't you spread those rumors about me. I might be 𝖊𝖆𝖆𝖆, but definitely not. But so here's the deal. Listen, and also I just want to throw it out there that, especially these last couple years, death for all of us is tricky. You come to terms with what you think is going to happen after you leave this earth, and you come to peace with it, or you don't, however you feel about it, that's fine. But this last couple years, the process of grieving has been difficult, and COVID especially. And I'm not talking about COVID as an agent of death. No, I'm talking about the fact that obviously there was so much separation for people over the last couple years. And if you guys remember, in 2020, I lost my grandma. And my grandma passed in the very sort of height of what was happening with COVID. And I was so angry, and I was so bitter, and I was so upset, and I was so frustrated because we were kept apart, and I didn't get to see her for a long time. I didn't get to celebrate her last birthday. Here was this woman who shaped me incredibly. And I've told you some wonderful stories. It's the same thing. When she passed, my way of keeping these people alive is sharing these stories with you guys. And, we joked about how my Ukrainian grandma chased Honky Bill, the pierogi slinging, entrepreneur across Canada so she could yell at him and all this stuff, and how she was obsessed with pinching people's butts and got thrown out of stores and because she would pinch people's butts. The reason I bring grandma up is because she passed at a time where COVID made it very difficult to do all of the things that we left behind do to feel better when we lose someone. And I carried a lot of anger and frustration, and I still do, guilt and whatever. And if you're going through anything like that, you are not alone, and you're not wrong in your feelings, and you will heal and you will feel better. But yeah, these last couple years have been so hard. And if you are mourning someone or grieving someone, like, my heart's there with you, for real. It's a tough time, right? So it will get easier. It just won't get easy. But the reason that I bring this up is because Grandpa, at the very least, I did get to see him. In fact, I got to see him in the hospital before he sort of went a little further downhill. When I knew it was going to be the last time. I had that opportunity. And I also got to visit with him over the course of the last year. Not as much as I'd like, but not like COVID. And so I'm a lot more peaceful this time around. But the story that I wanted to tell you guys is my grandpa. This is a real full force derail. My grandpa, as he did better and better in business, and as he had more and more resources at his disposal, Grandpa ended up actually buying racehorses. So no, not people slaves, but my grandpa did own racehorses. And obviously is an animal advocate now and whatever. I have some thoughts about that. But listen, the 60s and the 70s, the 50s, 60s, and 70s were different times. He owned racehorses. And so when I was very young, one of the things that we would do, hi JJ, one of the things that we would do together, among many things, and my grandpa was such an animal lover, and I got a lot of that from him, and a lot of my desire to rehab and volunteer and sort of all the things that I do in my life, very, very influenced by him. But he owned racehorses. And so when I was young, we used to go to the racetrack here in Vancouver at the P&E, the Hastings Racecourse, and we would often go. And so I would I would sit beside my grandpa and I would watch him place bets, and I would see him reading all these horses, and, I would get to see his horses and whatnot. But the reason that I bring this up, and it will never leave my mind, and I think it's hilarious, and the buildup now is far too large, and you guys won't. But for me, a cherished memory is that my grandpa took me to a horse race. And he pointed out a horse on the betting slip and he said, I'm going to bet for this horse. And I said, oh, okay. Why? Is he great? Like, how do you choose? And he's like, listen, can you read that? And I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, I see his name. And he's like, okay, the names of the horses are usually the dam and the sire. When they have a baby, they combine part of each of the parents' name into the new name. And that's how you kind of track bloodlines of horses. And he's like, based solely on this name, I'm going to bet on this horse. And I thought, okay, all right, cool, whatever. I'll figure it out. Now, here's the deal. The horse ended up winning. But its name, I didn't get it until it started winning because the announcer got more and more and more excited. And the mother, the mare, her name was something like Hoof Dreams. You know, like horses have hoofs. Hoof Dreams. And the dad was was something like Strong-Hearted, right? Like a strong heart. So the two names put together were Hoof-Hearted. Now you have to picture as like a 6-year-old, the the announcer starts screaming, Hoof-Hearted, Hoof-Hearted, Hoof-Hearted. And to this day, I remember my grandpa and I rolling around in the fucking stands because the announcer kept yelling, Hoof-Hearted. And it's not even funny. And the lead up to this whole story is completely pointless. But you saying half-hearted. No, I will not. My microphone, I'm smashing my desk because it's that funny. Fuck you. But for whatever reason, to this day, I still will lose my mind in random situations thinking about my grandpa and I fucking pissing ourselves in the stand while the announcer is, and it's Hoof-Hearted, and it's Hoof-Hearted, and it's Hoof-Hearted. It will never not be funny. So there you go. I just wasted 15 fucking minutes instead of playing that Evergrey track. Hoof-Hearted? Nah, it's heartless. No, that doesn't work. Forget it. Something horse segue metal show. High five. All right, there you go. So brand new Evergrey, and the lead-in was this ridiculous story about my grandpa and just all of this dumb shit. And so I looked it up, and that horse was still racing in 1988, 1989. Like, I would have been about 4 years old. So I thought I was 6. No, I was about 4 years old. Thank you for letting me share such a fucking stupid story with you. But so this was, I don't know if you guys saw this. I shared the link in chat. This was
How to Kill.
Stop. This was absolutely priceless. This was just this whole magical thing. And I went looking because I thought, man, I hope I didn't make this up. I hope this wasn't like a terrible Mandela effect. Well, no, I Googled it just to make sure that it was a real thing. And of course, it actually really is. And I shared that. So I just quickly here, I want to share this with you because other people remember this too, which cracks me the fuck up. And so other people remember this is classic North American like horse racing territory.
Extreme outside. Colorado co-ed. Toast a dozen on the inside. Questions jet. Who farted? Who farted on the outside? It's closed. Who farted in the winner's circle?
There's a question best left unanswered. As we say, see you later to our four-legged friends.
Extreme outside. Colorado co-ed. Toast a dozen on the inside. Questions jet.
All right. So there you go. I remember this. And it was so... I'm gonna cry. But so this is this is the whole thing as it is. But there was actually something that went in beyond this, and I'm not gonna play it, but I am remembering this now because this horse was beloved at the racetrack here in Vancouver. Like it became sort of a I don't know, a legend. And so if you are a fan of sort of like indie Canadian rock, a band called the Tragically Hip. Most people know the Tragically Hip, but obviously a huge thing in Canada, and Gord Downie, big deal, and really sad. But so actually, the Tragically Hip created a whole sort of box set of unreleased songs, alternate versions, and outtakes, and they called it Road Apples, and they specifically reference 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 the horse on it. There used to be this horse at Hastings Racetrack, the Tragically Hip, very Canadian band, and they very specifically reference 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆. And there's something about that is just so absolutely fucking glorious. And I don't know. So I wanted you all to know that. I wanted you all to sort of be a part of that with me. So there you go. He did not own 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖆, which is actually fucking sad. And you know, I have to look back. I'm hoping that I will be able to keep some of his art pieces. I've got one. He was a prolific art collector as well. And maybe I will take a look after the wake when we start kind of talking about what we're going to do with his stuff. Maybe I will be able to sort of share some of the horses' pictures with you. But there you go. I don't know. It's fun. The boner of winter, 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖆. Delightful. That's Fullforce Radio in a nutshell for you. Okay, so I did promise. Hi, Kingsky. I did promise that I would still play music. I did promise. Thanks for putting up with my whole run of nostalgia and what is essentially not just a dad joke, but a grandpa joke. The most Canadian horse joke of all time. God, that's a whole thing. All right, so I did promise that after playing Evergrey, and yeah, that new track is great. The new album, it's very melodical. It is less hard than some of the other stuff they've done. Almost all the singing is clean, and there's a lot of great sort of flourishy guitar solos. So if you, cute! Thank you. I love a compliment. Compliments will get you everywhere. So if you like the sound of that last song, check out this new album, A Heartless Portrait. It's all got that same vibe, start to finish. It's a pretty good listen. So if you liked it, that will be on the Fullforce Radio playlist and in the show notes that will come out tomorrow, because they will. Yes? Shall we continue? 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖆. May all of you be 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆𝖆. So I did promise that since we were talking about bands out of Gothenburg and the Gothenburg sound and a lot of this sort of metal that had a very specific vibe to it, because, you know, that's a very 2020, 2022 thing, vibe checks. Gothenburg has a sound. And one of the bands that I love the most, and one of the nicest guys in metal, Mikael Stanne, is the lead singer for a band called Dark Tranquillity. Now, I've played a lot of their stuff here on the show. I'm a big fan. But they have a song that they wrote specifically about Gothenburg, Sweden. And specifically about a place where everything began. This sound of metal began. Now, interestingly, the song is called Terminus, which of course, you know, usually means the end of a journey. Yeah, gay shit. I know, the gayest. Sure. That's a totally accurate term. I really don't care. You like literally play Between the Buried and Me like every week. But with that being said, no problem. So terminus normally is the descriptor for the end of a journey, right? But this song is specifically about the beginnings of this music. And Gothenburg, the idea that this is the end is the idea it is a place where death is most alive, and death is referring to death metal. So I'm going to play a track, Terminus, where death is most alive. And it's a song specifically about sort of this burgeoning, bubbling cauldron of like inspiration and melodeath, you know, and all of the music that's kind of come out of there from the 90s till now. Gothenburg will always be this special place for metal. And yeah, to be fair, I love Between the Buried and Me. I love a lot of progressive and gent. It just doesn't always end up in the show. Every show's a little bit different. Sometimes I like to yell about horses and dicks and play you 18-minute long songs called Acid Face. Listen, Full Force Radio is a journey. If you're enjoying taking the journey with me, come back every week. We'll get a little further every week together. You may not always like the scenery, but I promise you the company will be good. And the journey right now is taking us to the end. The beginning, the terminus. Yes, there you go. That is off a fucking awesome album. And I mean, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Dark Tranquillity. The newest album, Moment? Okay. But overall, their older discography, and even 𝖭𝖳𝖐, which was 2017? Doesn't matter. They have a great discography, and that album is called Fiction. It's awesome. If you want to kind of jump into sort of some of the beginnings of Melodeath, Dark Tranquillity and Insomnium at the time really were sort of the core of that sound that was starting to really shape what was coming out of kind of like Gothenburg. Polish metal is the best metal. There's a lot of good Polish metal, yeah. I mean, realistically, one of my favorite things is bands that come from countries that do music that is culturally inspired by other countries. And it's fantastic. That being said, I think I have listened to metal from pretty much every country on earth, and at the end of the day, I really do like most of it. So, I hope you guys are having a good time. I hope you're enjoying the music tonight. Obviously, no matter what, you won't, because that's just how it is. When I play stuff that's too hard, some people panic. When I play stuff that's not too hard, then people are like, oh my god, this is such a poser show. When I play stuff I like, everybody's like, ew, play popular stuff. So nights like tonight, little bit of everything. So yes, Gabriel, you might have read up on that, because specifically I was telling you about this. Was I saying old Batushka or new Batushka? Batushka was one of those bands that obviously have had some breakups, they've had lineup changes, and specifically they split up, and then multiple bands claimed to be the new Batushka. You know, one of the one of the singers, he pulled off and did his own thing. Then a bunch of other bands came up, and so the reality is it's really difficult to tell which Batushka anybody is actually talking about at any given time. But yes, and of course there are a lot of Polish black metal bands specifically that do a lot of sort of hymnal kind of religiously kind of fussy music. I mean, Behemoth is amazing. 𝖭𝖊𝖆𝖆 is a wiener. So I don't listen to Behemoth that much, but every now and again, they release a track and I'm like, oh, this fucking slaps, but ew, you're a gross human. It's one of those things, you know? So we have been doing fun shit. We have been we've been talking about all sorts of things. We've been talking about the AI, and we've had this idea that we were going to go and we were going to continue songs using AI technology, where we would take known lyrics from songs and then continue them with AI. So I definitely think we should have some fun with that tonight. And I've been playing old tracks and new tracks, and I've kind of been bouncing back and forth between stuff that is new releases and then you know, just tracks that I've enjoyed over the years. I'm a casual metal enjoyer, you might say. Lordy. So, since we are jumping back and forth, I thought in a minute that I could play you some more new releases. Now, one of the things that we kind of haven't been doing tonight is we haven't been sticking in any one genre, and that's okay. You know, sometimes I do that. Oh yeah, so there you go. 𝖊𝖍𝖘𝖔's got a whole like AI like feelings poem, and it's tough because some of these like things that the AI is putting out there, you know, it's shaped by your prompts, by your ideas, by your thought, and it's like, oh, wow, this is good. Yes, 𝖊𝖍𝖆𝖆 is an awesome band. There are a lot of different bands that are like kind of a little bit atmospheric and experimental. 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖚 There's a lot of bands that kind of are leaning more in sort of a post-black direction. Oh my gosh, I scratched myself. In a post-black direction, and are exploring like really interesting, weird, fun amalgams of music. But since we started out tonight a little sexy stoner, and we've been playing stuff bouncing back and forth across the spectrum, it's a good place after that little chestnut from Dark Tranquillity. I want to play something by another band, and it's basically a guitarist and a singer. And they do kind of doomy, funereal kind of stuff. And one of the things that I think putting this song in here is since we're talking a little bit about Igor, and we're talking about sort of some of these bands that are weirder and slower and a little more esoteric and kind of, for some of you in the Upside Down, the sounds of a winter. Meanwhile, the rest of us sweating our balls off in summer. I want to play something by a band called Frail. Now, it's spelled Frayle, so not your traditional spelling. But the lead singer is a female, and it's just really beautiful, haunting, sort of eerie music. And you know what? Hell, let's do it. Clay, it absolutely is a little shady going through customs, but it depends on the country, to be quite honest. I will say one of the hardest countries in the world to get like prescription drugs into and out of, the United States. Good old buddy Biden is making everything better by basically waging war on anything and everything that could be considered even remotely pharmaceutical. So I highly recommend, if you're not sure about it, just get it mailed to yourself. Mail it ahead of you. Get it mailed to yourself. You know, put it in a pill case. I don't know. Whatever. It's all good. But yes, I do play female bands all the time. I just try not to. Every now and again, like for Women's Day, I'll put together a full female playlist. But at the end of the day, female-fronted metal really shouldn't be a genre. I mean, if you think about it, everybody's making metal. Some of the bands have women in them. Cool. This is one of them. So I'm going to play you a brand new release, and it's a single called Treacle and Revenge. Now, when we're talking a little bit about sort of this slow, syrupy, oozing kind of feel to a lot of this music, treacle is essentially kind of a word that really describes that. So treacle is essentially like a syrup made of sugar. So when you talk about like molasses or like a golden syrup, it's somewhere in between there, and it's a little bit bitter, and it's very syrupy, and it's very languid, and it's very slow. And so often the word treacle, even though it refers to food, delicious, even though it refers to a food item, it's actually sort of on point. This idea of syrupy flattery, of languid sort of spoken words. And when you put treacle and revenge together, it's kind of sexy and kind of scary. And if you're not scaroused on Fullforce Radio, you're not doing it right. Thoughts? Otto's got some like spooky faces going on over on the Theta. Yeah, pretty good, eh? I'm a big fan. So you guys know, the more a woman is a potential murder of mine, the more exciting she is. I choose to read that as the more likely a woman is to murder you, the more exciting she is. This song was hot, and I wish for more. Good girl. Agreed. So you guys know I definitely have a thing for like weird, sexy, scary, spooky music. We put Jesus's baby. We put the baby to bed. So sexy or lullaby, you choose. Why not both? But yeah, if you like the sound of that, then obviously, but no, stop the songs. Yeah, I know. So you guys may have noticed in there, is every time I get my groove on and I'm really into dancing, inevitably I do something dumb and I touch my ear like this. And unfortunately, it stops. Or it plays, or it stops. And so the reality is, often I'll be like so into it that I'll end up turning the music off, because obviously that's exactly what you want, is when you're playing a song that you're really into, you want it to stop randomly while you're doing some kind of weird, like creepy person sexy dance. And then you want to be dancing to nothing. Absolutely. Looking good. Pro streamer right here. You know you love me. And by that, I mean, you guys know you keep showing up because I am such a disaster. Highly recommended. They recently put out an album, 2020? In the last couple of years, they put out an album called 1692. Excellent. Highly recommended. If you love that sound, other bands that you're going to like are bands like Pallbearer are, listen. One of these days, I got to do a whole just straight up like funeral, but make it sexual. We're going to do that whole thing in a playlist. Goodness gracious me. All right. So we are almost 2 hours into the show. I hope you guys have been having fun. We are back. Fullforce Radio is like, we're back. We're on this train. We're doing the thing. Like, it's good. We're back, sort of. You're the big fan of my dance. Well, that's good, because I'm as white come. And when people are going to inevitably call me racist for that, it means I can't dance. I really can't. And that's fine. It's okay. Like I said, as a woman with long hair, all you have to do is just toss your hair around a lot. And people will be like, oh my God, she's so sexy. Look at her do things with her hair. And meanwhile, you're like, I can't dance. Ha ha. You guys are foolish. Ha. All right, so weird flex, but okay. It's a Peter Gabriel song, isn't it? I can't dance. All right, Fullforce Radio. 2 hours. Things get a little squirrely around the 2 hour mark. Let's continue. Let's try to continue. I actually can dance, by the way. All right, so while you guys are talking amongst yourselves, what I may end up doing is grabbing some of the lyrics of these songs, firing them off to you guys, and letting you put them through some AI. Whether you take a lyric from the song and you put it through an AI art generator, or you put it through an AI lyrics generator, either or, let's see what we can come up with. Now, we're going to do this with one of my favorite extreme metal bands, and in fact, one of my favorite songs from this extreme metal band. And I have not played them for a while. And I am specifically talking about a band called 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆. Now, it's been a while. And I love them very, very much. They are ridiculous. They're over the top. And yes, they are extreme metal. And Crim, what if we drank? All right. All you had to do was ask, what is it, Marilyn Monroe? All you gotta do is put your lips together and blow. Yeah, I wouldn't be good at being like sexy on stream for money. It'd be like, I'd have like 1 second of this moment of connection and you guys would be like, yes! And then I would say something, or I would do something, or my face would do something, and everybody would be like, no. No. The highest of highs and the lowest of lows. It's a roller coaster here. My bottle game is good tonight. Yeah, I'm Canadian. So Clay's just warning all of you guys never to challenge me to a drinking contest. It's true. I'm a piss tank. I grew up playing competitive sports. I grew up with cool dad, cool mom, cool grandpa, cool grandma. I, travel a lot. My genetics are mostly, that's my forehead, by the way, mostly pretty good. And the reality is, especially as I got older, I played sports on mixed gender competitive teams, and all you do is drink. You don't actually sport. Drinking is a sport. So the reality is I can drink a lot. I'm also Canadian. Our blood is like 2 parts blood to 1 part alcohol to 1 part maple syrup. We're powered by like natural sugars and alcohol sugars. It's over for you fools, basically. So never challenge me to a drinking contest, and you'll be fine. So yes, women always try to ruin men's sports. That's definitely the way it is right now, right? Like biological women, and definitely not. Yeah, okay. 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆, let's do it. I agree with Chocolate Lamb. 𝖍𝖎𝖆𝖆𝖆 as an album is spectacular. 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆 describe themselves as like the soundtrack to Armageddon. They like to call themselves the audible essence of evil. And yet, they actually seem like really nice people. They write really cool music. They've collaborated with incredible musicians from across the black and death metal spheres. And 𝖍𝖎𝖆𝖆𝖆 as an album is specifically about sort of that era. And we've talked about this on the show before, so I won't go too deep into it. Specifically talking about that era where humanity was terrified by science, and everything had either a religious or a faith-based explanation, and that sort of space where we lean too heavily on faith and we reject too much science, how we end up sort of shaking and fearful in the darkness. Now, obviously, the flip side is bad too, where we only believe science and we have no soul and no faith. Balance in all things, right? So 𝖍𝖎𝖆𝖆𝖆 is an album all about that. And it is so good. Honestly, it's so good. And there are so many great tracks on here. And I have played pretty much, you better now play that song though, out of all of them. Well, you know which one I'm going to play because it's my favorite. But there are some really great songs on here. And one of the things, the last time when we were really struggling with some of the COVID and people were really struggling with some depression, and we had some really like deep talks on the show, I played you a track called Create Art, Though the World May Be Ending. And the idea of being that, you know, even if everything is falling down around you, you are full of beauty and you are full of potential, and you are a magical, we mentioned this earlier, a magical collection of stardust just fucking crammed into a meat sack, ambulating around a rock, spinning through eternal space. It's incredible. You're so full of potential. And so I played that for you guys, and I thought about playing that tonight. Tell me of my fellow man flowing forth in orgasmic bliss. So yeah, it's a great song, and it's basically about the Jesus. It's basically about the fact that, you know, everything in the world, essentially, as much as we pay attention to art and religion and all the things that make us human, when it comes down to it, and when we talk about the good people and the bad people and everything else, at the end of the day, we are very strongly rooted in our own pleasure. And whether or not we can make a difference or we can't, a lot of the time what we're focused on is just, you know, it's the human condition. You're back from a smoke break. What did you miss? You missed a pig with cocks in its eyes. Now you're caught up. Fullforce Radio. So we've been going for 2 hours, and tonight's playlist has been so much fun. Now, one of the things that happened... Gecko, I'm so sorry. It's a great song. But one of the things that I feel like we need to touch on is I challenged you guys to take, you know, sentences and either take parts of the song and either plug them into an art generator or plug them into a lyric generator. Patient Zero, I have no fucking words. I want everybody to see this. I want them to experience it in their soul. If you weren't scared of the AI, now you should be. Let's look at this. Let's absorb this. I want you to see this. So PZ plugged in Crimsonclad at a heavy metal concert dancing with Jean-Claude Van Damme. That was the prompt he gave the 𝖊𝖕𝖆𝖆. Look at this! Look what 𝖊𝖕 created. It's me and Jean-Claude Van Damme. And we're at a concert and we're dancing. And it's terrifying because it actually kind of looks like me if I had a Dolly Schmear for a face and a man body. If you crossed my genetics with Peter Steele, it is in chat already, but I'll drop it in chat again because holy shit, this is terrifying. This is terrifying and incredible and amazing. If you took my genetics and you crossed them with Peter Steele, you would get this. The AI is too strong. Actually, in this particular image right here, in this one, right here, it kind of looks like Jean-Claude Van Damme is backhanding me off the stage. But especially that last image, the long red hair, we're rocking out on stage in front of a drum kit. It's just me and Jean-Claude Van Damme. How does that look like me? It looks like me in that it actually put together a human form with long red hair. That's terrifying. I mean, it took a wild guess at what Crimsonclad was. Crimsonclad could have been anything. It took a wild guess and it assumed that it was a person, and it actually roughly... Oh my God, Eileen, on a scale of 1 to 9, how crim do you feel today? Accurate. So which crim... Which crim are you? Are you getting backhanded off the stage crim? Are you harem pants, carrot top crim? Are you beefy masturbation arm Peter Steele typo negative crim? Are you crim wearing a sting face? Like, I'm just saying, all considered, this is terrifying and amazing. So I've got the, guys, what can I say? Are we looking at Dali memes? Yeah, sorry. It's, specifically, we're laughing because Patient Zero put in the most absurd prompt, and it was actually far more accurate than it had any right to be. Crimsonclad at a heavy metal concert dancing with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, I'm sorry, I don't care what you think. Some of these are far too accurate. And people are like, oh, it doesn't look like you. Well, no, but the computer has no idea. DALL-E has no idea. And the fact that it came up with, like, this is unbelievable. It is. Look at this. There's me and fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme doing his, like, sexy dancing. It's, I don't know, Vin Diesel is singing on the stage. I'm in the background going full groupie, doing the 𝖊𝖊𝖆𝖆, you know, the thighs. That's the 𝖊𝖊𝖆𝖆. This one? That's the 𝖊𝖊𝖆𝖆. I'm just saying, overall, there's a lot going on right now, okay? There's just a lot that's happening. Ow, my thigh. Okay, so I'm impressed. I'm easily impressed. Let's continue. It creates images from text. Yes. So for those of you who don't realize that literally none of this existed, the computer, the AI, created that grid of 9 images based solely on the words Crimsonclad at a heavy metal concert dancing with Jean-Claude Van Damme. He put that sentence in. Those images are what a cloud-based AI came up with. It's terrifying. We're all going to die. You're not impressed. I'm impressed. I'm fucking impressed. Okay. So, while we're all having fun, or at least some of us are having fun, some of us aren't, but that's just the way that it goes. While most of us are having fun, let's continue on. So, you know, we were talking a little bit about generating things out of songs. And I've been playing old tracks and new tracks, stuff I love, stuff that I'm just mildly interested in, brand new releases. We've been having a good time tonight. We've been playing a little bit of everything. A little bit of everything. So one of the things that I want to do here, and I'm trying to find everything, and a bunch of stuff on my playlist I'm not allowed to play right now. That's so silly. There is new Rammstein. I'm not going to play it because honestly, I do really love Rammstein, but oh, hey, kitty girl, good to see you. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, yeah, you made a song about big tits. Okay, woo, never been done before, Rammstein. I'm kind of hoping they push the limit. So I'm going to come back to a band that you guys really enjoyed a couple weeks ago. I played you a new release, and it's very much like epic power metal. And I haven't done a lot of that. I mean, power metal often kind of falls by the wayside. I have a lot of fun with the idea of sort of the dragons and monsters and mythos, but overall I don't listen to a lot of power metal. And the bands that I do listen to that kind of fall in the power metal niche usually are a crossover and are a little darker and a little meaner. But I do want to play this for you because it's epic, melodic, and when I played the last single that they released, you guys really loved it. And so in the interest of keeping new music in the playlist and then bouncing back to some heavier stuff, this is a good place for it. So we are going to do, let's just come back here. We're going to do some new Zion, and I am going to play you a brand new track. I am going to play you something called If I Had Wings. Wow, that one's great. I mean, honestly, Crimsonclad dancing, murder unicorn. Yeah, I mean, there's some weird red pieces that could be hair, some like limbs that are flailing all over the place, a lot of synthwave colors. Like, yeah, I dig it. These are all excellent. Julius Caesar Giga Chad. Pretty good. If you weren't here earlier, the reason this all started is because I was sharing with you guys the image of Paddington Bear in a mosh pit, which might be one of my favorite results that I've seen from 𝖊𝖕𝖆. Way too accurate. Amazing. Let me play you this new Zion track. When we come back, we'll play some older stuff, and I will I will figure out where we're going to go from here. My name is Crimsonclad. We are officially in the last hour of the show. This is Fullforce Radio. It's sort of a metal show, but often it's just a lot of fun. You guys, me, hanging out, doing our thing. We're back on the sort of regular schedule. If you're enjoying this, awesome. You should watch or listen to it live. You can do that across a number of places. mspwaves.com is the actual radio station. You can go there for live and high quality, good old weird ear sounds. Or you can check it out on Vim TV, Theta TV, Trovo Live, or Twitch, and you can hang out at any one of the live streaming venues, watch a video, participate in chat. Listen, do your thing. And then later, if you want to watch it again, you can go to YouTube. If you want to find any of those places and throw a follow so you will be able to, participate right here. Right here. Okay, so well, you guys are doing that. Let's play this Zion track. It'll be our one sort of lean towards power metal for the night, although I do have another song that I want to play for you. We'll see if we can fit it in. You never know. We're always just cramming things where they're least expected on Fullforce Radio. There you go. New Zion. It is good. So we are having a lot of fun with AI and chat. Yeah, I love my mom too. Like, thanks, Mom. She always gets me cool stuff. And we've talked about this before. She bought me this little USB fan because she knows I get really hot doing the show. And so it has this light. It has an angry cloud. Yes, thanks, Mom. I know you're watching. Thanks, Mom. Everybody say thanks. Thanks, Crims, Mom. But so on the back, I don't know if this is commentary that she thinks I smell, but it has this little piece that you could put stinky stuff on, like for aromatherapy, and then you put it in the fan, and then the fan blows, and then the fan blows the smell on you. But so for me, what I've been doing is just a little essence de bourbon, because we're not all alcoholics here, but nothing says like a big old mouthful of this. So yes, I could turn the little light on, and then I have to turn it off. My only fan blows. I know. I got it. I got it from the very start when you were like, oh, your fans are blowing you right now. Yeah, I get it. It's funny, but so I have to turn it off, or otherwise you guys will get your ears blasted off. We'll do the entire show in a hurricane. Ah! Right? Okay. So my comfort is less important than your discomfort. All right. So we are down to like the last 40 minutes of the show or whatever. It's ASMR. We're in a tornado. Listen, I don't know. Fuck. It is what it is. But I'm having a lot of fun. Are you having a lot of fun? Maybe. Just tell me you are. Hey, nobody told me my shit fell down. Is that because I have a fan blowing right now and all my shit fell down? Nobody told me that. My 𝖍𝖊𝖆𝖛 signed image because I'm a loser, and my 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖆 album cover with the sexy gun lady on it. Come on. Sexy gun lady fell down. That's sad. Look at her. She's super sexy. I love this album, 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖆's B-sides. It's really good. There's good art. It's great, eh? Nobody told me it fell down. All right, so while we are continuing, I've been playing old stuff. I've been playing new stuff. I've been playing stuff that you haven't heard for a while. I've been playing my favorites. We have had absolutely no rhyme or reason for what we're playing tonight, and now I like it that way. That's my job. So I want to play you guys some more music. There has been a lot of stuff, like some new 𝖊𝖆𝖆𝖆 came out. Honestly, same with the Rammstein. I'm not really thinking that I'm going to play it tonight. It's not bad. It's good. It's very much like a commercial hit. It's called See You in the Ring. And it's, the video is like Viking dudes beating the shit out of each other in some underground like fight club. It's okay. It's not my favorite. So we'll see. I'm excited for new music, but we'll, whatever. So with that being said, we're going new, we're going old, we're bouncing back and forth. I'm putting all sorts of good things in your guys' ears. And I thought, since we're playing epic metal, and since we haven't played something at least mildly inappropriate for a while, I thought one of the bands that I have not played for you guys in a dog's age, and that's a pun, and you'll see why, is Powerwolf. Powerwolf is a lot of fun. It's really cheesy. It's really over the top. It's kind of ridiculous, to be honest. But one of the things that kind of can't be denied is that Powerwolf can sing, can play instruments. They write incredible fucking songs. It just happens that some of them are just absurd. And so their whole shtick is like, yeah, they have their own religious outfits, but they're werewolves, but they're Jesus-y. It's a whole thing. And so I thought that we could maybe play Resurrection by Erection, because it's been a while since we all sang along together, Raise Your Boner to the Sky and You Know You'll Never Die, Erection. We haven't sang that in a while, and that's always good fun. Anytime we have a show where we get a little serious and we talk about things like, death and grieving and some of the sort of like roots of metal and sort of all the serious topics that we cover tonight, it's nice to balance them out with silly, because metal is very silly. And arguably, one of the things that I need you to remember is that metal is over the top absurd. And at the end of the day, Judas Priest literally came out on stage wearing gay fetish gear and just didn't tell people it was gay fetish gear. And that kind of became the de facto uniform for heavy metal. So anytime you get too serious about metal and too fucking precious, just remember that all that spiked shit that you were wearing was literally just early gay fetish gear. Have a good time with it. So, yeah, Powerwolf. Do we want to sing Resurrection by Erection? Or one of my favorite tracks, or sort of my two favorite sing-along tracks, We Drink Your Blood. Yeah, and actually, 𝖊 didn't influence visually so gay, but there are actually a lot of really interesting queer metal musicians, for sure. And people kind of forget that. But yeah, speaking of 𝖍𝖎𝖆 and 𝖊, I mean, listen, God, there's so many things we could delve into on this. And in fact, maybe for Pride Month, that's what we will do. But he was Norwegian and a very, is Norwegian and is very interesting and very esoteric. But we're not going down that road. So, while chat kind of ruminates on that, let's pick a Powerwolf track. Resurrection by Erection. I really like I really like We Drink Your Blood or Sanctified by Dynamite. If we're gonna sing a sing-along song, we may as well have a really good time with it, and we may as well be completely unserious. So for all of the more like heavy, fun, serious stuff we did tonight, we all need to sing about either an angel literally coming down and touching the tip of our dick in battle, and then we come to life again, or literally rolling into the Crusades as a religious army, except blowing ourselves up with sticks of dynamite. That's our chosen weaponry. Or summoning a demon by drinking your blood. These are the options. This is a fun little assortment of community activities tonight. What are you feeling like? Boners? Explosions? Vampirism? Take your pick. That's what we'll do. You're gonna get Powerwolf. You may as well have at least some feedback into it. Man, some of these AI things are amazing. And I like the giant pipes on that last Crimsonclad. She has got some fucking beefy arms. I'm like a Trogdor. Look at the beefy arm coming out of the back of my neck there. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Pig literally just wants to, just the tip, just for a second, just to see how it feels. We Drink Your Blood, Jesus? Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, that's one of my favorite sing-along songs. We drink your blood. Well, so Powerwolf's full shtick is to take bits and pieces of like Christian liturgy and turn it into slightly blasphemous werewolf music. So this song is literally about being pious and biblical and going out and killing the non-believers. We just happen to be doing that by opening their veins and then calling all of the bloody saints down from the sky. So I mean, like, yes, biblical, but no, not in this sort of nice Christian way. But one of the things that's really interesting is in that middle of that, you guys are mentioning, maybe it was Mariano. I'm sorry, I try to remember the chat as it goes by. But somebody was saying, oh, like, I like sort of the aspects of like hymnal in this, because there are some chants, there are some sort of layered voices, and like sort of a men's hymnal choir. That's a whole thing. Powerwolf really does play off of that sort of church sound, and we were talking about that earlier. But specifically in this song, they're talking about sort of calling to saints and doing these sort of ritualistic biblical things. And in the middle, they talk about the Kyrie eleison, which I don't know if you guys know, that is actually quite a famous Christian liturgy. So it is a whole sort of prayer that I guess it comes from like Greek Orthodox, but then kind of spread through from Eastern Christianity to Western Christianity. So there you go. It's a whole part of litany at the beginning of the whatever. I don't know what it means. Lord have mercy, I think. I'm pretty sure Kyrie eleison roughly translates to Lord have mercy, which when the song is literally singing about fucking about chasing somebody down and opening up their veins, but also Lord have mercy. I'm a big fan of Gregorian chants as well. And, you know, there was this whole like basic bitch period in the 90s where like Enigma and other sort of weird sort of woo-woo bands were making sort of atmospheric pop music, and they were overlaying like Gregorian chanting. There was like a whole period in the 90s where all the music was like sort of weird, sexy Gregorian chant trance. Does anybody remember this? Am I making this up? Maybe. I don't know, man. I want to say that I was like on drugs in the 90s. I wasn't. I was like 5 years old. So maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. I'm just saying. There was, yeah. And actually, I'm pretty sure, didn't like Enya or somebody like, Kyrie, we all are family. Do, we're all the same. I'm trying to remember the rest of it. The fires are burning. Dance into something flame. Doesn't matter. But yeah, Enigma, Erasure. I mean, yeah, man. Age of Innocence. All of those things. There was a whole period in there. See, people want to say that I only like metal, but it's not true. I like all of it. I went through all of the phases. I went through like 70s, like psychedelia and rock and whatever. I had a whole pop phase. I was raving for years. I was like a candy, happy, hardcore raver for years. Went full goth. Was just listening to like 𝖍𝖎𝖆 and like Depeche Mode. And yeah, I mean, honestly, all of it. All of it. But let's face it, most of the music, any genre, most of the music has pulled from religious music. We know for a fact that hymnals were some of the first sort of expressions of choirs singing. I mean, you had fieldwork chants, you had essentially history and religion passed down through song. So it's always, always, always coming up. These pieces of history, they bubble back up and we reuse the same sounds, the same songs, the same ideas over and over and over again. And that's okay. So we've done a little bit of everything tonight, and I'm starting to slow down a little bit in picking new tracks because looking at it, we're like half an hour or less left in the show, and tonight has certainly been really different. But that's one thing that I want to find out, like 90s Gregorian chant trance. Like, what was that called? Like, 𝖭𝖑𝖋𝖔𝖗 had sadness. And yeah, okay, there were Gregorian chants everywhere. What would you call that music? Like, it was like house music? God. Okay, here. Rolling Stone wrote an article about this. I'm not a huge fan of Rolling Stone. Flashback. Spanish monks ignite Gregorian chant mania. The Benedictine monks of Santo Domingo released their double platinum juggernaut. Okay, so there you go. Like, a bunch of albums came out, and on the top of the charts was a Gregorian chant album. And that went to the top of the charts in 1994. Mystical Chants. Oh, sorry, number 3 on the Billboard 200. And it spent 53 weeks on the chart. That's wild. That's fucking wild. And they actually made a music video for MTV. And so that started everything. So yeah, like 𝖭𝖑𝖋𝖏, Dead Can Dance. Who else? What are we calling this music? What would you call this music? I want to know. Was it like New Age? Was it New Age dance music? I want to say maybe New Age. I don't know. But this was like a whole thing. There was just a ton of songs that all went in this route. And I just remember it being a very sort of like incense fucking, I don't know. At least you guys remember. Yeah, we're all gonna like just sing, yeah, Return to Innocence. Everybody's, hey, This is a metal show, remember? God, Jesus, you guys, stick with the metal, okay? You're being very inappropriate right now. Yeah, okay. Mystic New Age. Perfect. Let's continue on. No, not New Age. Okay, nope. All right, it's not music. It's not New Age. My bad. See, I don't know. I was in the 90s. I'm just, okay. Yeah, Die for Metal is great. There's a lot of chants in Manowar. And actually, I played you guys a couple of my favorite, like, drum tracks and everything. Everybody's just Manowaring in the... We could Manowar. You want me to play Hail and Kill? I haven't played Hail and Kill in forever. God. You know, one of the first things that I ever kind of saw, I never realized the reach that Manowar... And I think he's more laughing that we kind of just figured New Age was appropriate and it actually wasn't the right name. I don't know. I still don't know what to call it. Everybody's referring to that period in the 90s as chant mania. But there was a bunch of like trance remixes, you know, like Christ. Yeah. I don't know. It's a lot of chanting in the 90s. Let's all return to chant. Okay. I mean, man, I love so many songs. God. Fighting the World is such a good album. I remember one of the first road trips I took by myself when I truly understood hippie shit. We're going to call it hippie shit. It's monk trance hippie shit. But one of the first road trips that I ever took by myself, and that I kind of drove across, not Canada, I didn't go across Canada, but I drove through BC. And when I truly sort of understood the massive appeal of Man-O-War was when I saw my first panel van with a Man-O-War sticker on it. And I can't even remember. It was somewhere in the deep interior. And to me, I was like, oh, they like Man-O-War. And that was like the first moment for me that metal was kind of a brotherhood. And it was like I was a little too young to be traveling for... I was a little too young to be truly, truly traveling for shows. I was just starting to going down to Seattle to shows by myself and things like that. So for me, that was like the first moment of like, oh, there are other metal people out there. That's cool. And, the fact that it was Man-O-War and, so many of Man-O-War's songs are about brotherhood and how metal brings people together and how it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, or what you have, that like that music joins us and connects us and brings us together in this sort of safe community of people who are like-minded. It was really cool when I first saw my first sort of Man-O-War gear in the wild. And then later, when I did my first road trip around New Zealand, around the North Island, I played Man-O-War most of the trip, and every time I stopped my van, people would come over and be like, ah! And it was the greatest. It was the absolute greatest. Man-O-War brings people together. If you ever want to like find friends while you're traveling, just blast some Man-O-War and hope for the best. All right. You know what? Hail and kill. Yeah. You know what? I'm okay with that. Let's do it. The sing-along part to this is hail, hail, hail and kill. We drink your blood. We drink. We drink. We drink your blood. If we're going to keep chanting in this one, it's hail, hail, hail and kill. Yes? Yes, you can do it. I have faith. Everybody needs assless chaps. 10-ish minutes left in the show. We've been having a lot of fun. We have been playing a lot of sing-along songs. It's fine. I like it. That's Ron's attempt to, he's really busy, but he does the best he can to listen in with one ear and then make sure that I feel appreciated. That's meaningful. I love it. So yeah, there's some couple of things before the night is over. One of the things that... Oh my God, Patient Zero, that thing you put in there right now is terrible. But so one of the things that I've been doing and that I have been working on, oh my God, I love my Fullforce Blinky. Oh, it's crimson. I adore it. So here's the deal. I do have a Discord, and many of you are in it, and many of you don't care. And you don't have to be in there if you don't want to be. But I am using it a little bit more. I'm scheduling shows as events now, so you know when they are. I have created... Crimbot now will give you a role for shows. I have to turn that on and put it in there. But that way I can ping you for shows, or I can send you news if you want it without, it's self-serve. I like that better. I'm also going to chat a little bit more in there. I'm going to share social media stuff in there. I'm going to put show notes and replays in there. And then, yeah, a bunch of you guys create really fun, hilarious shit. And, Patient Zero especially is always making stuff. And this one particularly... This is something. This is really something. And so he's got a channel where he shared all that. And so if you've made something that you love and want to share with the rest of the people who know me and then are embarrassed by, there you go. Yes? Yes. Okay. So, Crim, sexy dancing with Jean-Claude Van Damme. That's my PSA for you guys. So, So while we are coming up to the end of the show, we've been doing a lot of sing-along songs. We've been playing new stuff, old stuff, a whole wild mix. It's not much of a cohesive playlist tonight. And yet we've covered off everything from we've covered off everything from classic Opeth. We've gone through Entombed discography. We've played stuff like Man-O-War and Zion, All Them Witches, Dark Tranquility. 𝖊𝖆𝖆𝖆. It's been a great playlist, and I hope you guys are having a lot of fun with it. So I will be getting this all set up, and it will go up in the post tomorrow, and the Fullforce replay will go up. And so I don't have the new workflow quite under control, but the idea is that this one will be more manageable, and that replays and that show videos and that show notes will kind of go up a little bit quicker. Is it going to work? I don't know. Will I have good like clips to share with you guys? Will I have proper stuff happening over on the Twitch or the Theta or the Vim? No, but I'm going to start making more of you guys moderators, and like, I just want you to have fun with it. This is your show. I do this by myself anyways, but mostly I would like you to find this place to be enjoyable. Bring your friends, bring your family, put your baby to sleep listening. Put your baby to sleep singing Power Wolf. You know, there's a little bit of something for everyone. So, yeah. And we will continue to kind of turn this up. So, yeah, next week, boner playlist, AI boner playlist. Saturday, Cyberbuzz Radio. And if you are interested in the topics of AI and AI generation and whatnot, yes, I'm gonna create roles, and I'm gonna let Crimbot have them, and you can just put them on yourself. Self-serve a la carte roles, because I recognize that's what you guys fucking want. So you can have it. And with that, if you're interested in the AI stuff, then the baby's back up. We're going to put the baby back to sleep. We're going to figure it out. It's going to happen. But yes, if you're interested in that, I have a cool topic that I'm going to talk about on Saturday for Cyberbuzz and some great synthwave. So, you know, come back. Let's get back on the schedule. Let's have a thing. And I'm also going to do some gameplay streaming, definitely for Metal Hellsinger, at least, because desperately want to. So, with that, we do have to fucking finish this show. We have to finish this show. And yeah, you can do it. Clay, you can live out of a backpack for 3 months. You can. I promise you. I've easily been traveling for more than a month on the same backpack. You can do it. We'll talk more about it. But honestly, either way, you're going to have a lot of fun. Think of what you want to take. All of you guys, I hope you have adventures near and far in the coming weeks and the coming years, because listen, the world is big and exciting and full of adventure, and nothing can hold you back anymore. So, while we're at it, what do we got to do here? We got to play at least one more. We got to play at least one more song. And there's so much stuff that I want to play, and, you know, where to take it with only a little bit of time left in the playlist. And I'm trying to decide. 90% deodorant and panties, 10% camera stuff. 90% deodorant and camera stuff. But you were damn close. All right. So with that being said, 90% deodorant and metal shirts. Whole anniversary, 5 years of Force. So I got a couple big milestones that I need to get some stuff under control. If you have ideas of how you want to celebrate, let me know, because I want to do all of it. I want to have a really good time. I want to turn it into a big celebration. It's very cool. It's a big achievement, and I'm stoked for it. Otherwise, I also have a post in the pipe from Alaska, because it is my blockchain 5-year anniversary as well. So lots of cool stuff going on. I promise to try and be a better entertainer. But for now, dreaming in digital with me and my Peter Steele body and my big pipes, I gotta go. I don't know. I gotta go. Okay, bye. Okay, actually, bye. I hope you guys had fun. See you next week.